Hey folks, Red Labor here. Hope you're having a great day. This morning at my workplace, one of my co-workers asked me a question, and I gave her an answer. I won't mention her name, but she's a lesbian, and Chick-A-Filet happened to send some free food over to everyone at the workplace. They do this from time to time. It's like right across the street from where I work. I was asked, why do you eat that chicken biscuit from Chick-A-Filet? I would figure that you of all people would be joining in this boycott. And I asked her, or reply, are you engaging in the boycott? She says yes, and a lot of people are. Now, people who are on the political right would be like, well, this is what liberals do. But you know what? Individuals got a right to boycott. I mean, if you don't like something, then somebody says you have a right to boycott. I don't like what the guy from Chick-A-Filet has to say. I just think it's pointless to boycott, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But if you want to boycott, that is your right. But I noticed a little hypocrisy on the political right, because when America invaded Iraq in 2003, the invasion and occupation, France did the correct thing and voted no at the UN on going into Iraq, and so they wanted American right-wingers were making fun of the French and saying how foo-foo they were, and boycott everything from France, and freedom fries this. They started, how lame it was when he started calling freedom fries instead of French fries, which under George W. Bush in America, I think it's ironic they call them freedom fries, because there's more freedom in France than there is in the United States in some fundamental ways. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is all this stuff about boycotts and everything, I think it's pointless. I was listening to another YouTube video commentary, some guy named Justin, and what he had to say is, I think it's pretty much true, and that's basically, if you're going to go and boycott a company on the premise that you dislike what they have to say politically, I mean, let's not pretend like Chick-A-Filet's like the first company to do such a thing. I mean, there's just endless amount of companies that would do this. I think 24E Justin 24 is essentially correct. Boycotting a product on the premise that you disagree with what they have to say or their position is kind of useless when you have corporations, a lot of capitalist corporations who are immoral on a whole lot of issues. I'll give you an example. Coca-Cola sort of allow the Colombian government to murder trade union activists trying to organize at Coca-Cola plants down in Colombia. And back in the 80s, they were doing business with South Africa during the days of apartheid when Nelson Mandela was still in prison. I mean, there are all kinds of companies have done all kinds. I drive a Ford. The Henry T. Ford. I mean, he was an anti-Semite that wrote the Ford section in the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. I mean, we could go into every corporate entity in the world and boycott because there is a position here and there that we might find objectionable. But if I were to boycott, and I have been involved with boycotts before, if I were to boycott every single corporation on the basis of political disagreements, I wouldn't have gasoline to put in the car. I probably would hardly have food to eat on my table. I would not be able to pay my bills. Because electricity, whether it's electricity or water or cable or whatever expenses, just about every corporation and every product made by a corporation have had some kind of unethical. There is an unethical pattern, a pattern that's not unlike the 100 million people that died under communism during the 20th century. Crime against humanity it was, except that communism was overt. Capitalism is a bit more subtle in some cases. Some cases not so subtle. But I digress. But if you're going to go and boycott a product, I wouldn't be able to eat. I wouldn't be able to drink. I wouldn't be able to purchase anything. I wouldn't be able to put gas in the car. I wouldn't be able to wear a stitch of clothing. And believe me, if I'm walking around naked, it ain't going to be a pretty sight. But the problem is that I think to go and boycott Chick-A-Filet on the premise that the CEO made a dumb statement. Of course, I predict that it's going to hurt him more than anything else. He could have given an ambiguous answer. I mean, it's his opinion. It is his opinion, and as I said, I am of the mindset of legalizing same-sex marriage, and also respecting the rights. Well, not so much respecting, but allowing somebody to be entitled to their opinion without political repercussions. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to go hip hip hooray to the guy from Chick-A-Filet when he said that. I think it's pointless to make this sort of action. In some ways, it kind of puts the progressives in the intolerant side in exactly the same way that the right wing are intolerant, but somehow they end up getting away with it. But when the left do anything that smacks of whatever the right wing would do, they get chastised as politically correct. And as I said, and another post that political correctness is a two-way street. Ward Churchill, Noam Chomsky, or someone like that would say something, if they say something fucked up, the right wing gets all in a tizzy. But when Pat Robertson or Dinesh D'Souza says something fucked up, they're just entitled to their opinion, what have you. This whole double standard. But as I said, the gay marriage thing is same-sex marriage advocates are going to eventually win out. They're going to win out, and it's going to win out because of congressional laws or a constitutional amendment if there's a momentum. And think about it this way: when it comes to homophobia, who are the most homophobic people around? They're usually older folks, and I, as much anti-conservative as I am politically, I would say that even younger conservatives have a libertarian sensibility about them, and they're not as motivated by God, gays, and guns as the older conservatives around. So there is as I said, in about 20 years, people are going to look at those who oppose same-sex marriage as negatively as they look down on those that get a hissy fit over interracial dating. So it's not that I don't care what the CEO of Chick-A-Filet has to say, but the issue is going to be resolved, and his position really doesn't weigh one way or the other on what's going on. And that's my take as Red Labor, who favors the legalization of same-sex marriage, but is a free thinker and also supports the right of people to have their views, even if I disagree with it. Take care and comment. Bye-bye.